Hey everybody, what is up? Happy Tuesday, it's Bullen back with yet another video for you. I'm going straight into this video after just uploading my first video of the night because Jaclyn Hill is at it again. Jaclyn Hill, after her failed flop jewellery launch of Jaclyn Roxanne, is at it once again, and I really want to talk about this. So yeah, I couldn't even wait to do my face, because I was just like, you know what, let me jump on here and make a video about this real quick. Because this is something that I started to see yesterday from Jaclyn Hill when she was posting on her IG stories about her mental health. Because of course she's been uploading these videos, Jaclyn's Journey, which is all about her mental health, her diet, her exercise, all of this stuff. And she stopped posting it. Coincidentally, she stopped posting it right after the launch of Jaclyn Roxanne. Then when Jaclyn Roxanne launched, she started getting all of this negative feedback from people because the jewellery was coming bent, broken. The clasp of the earrings were, falling apart. So people were having the earrings falling off. People were having their skin turned green. They were having reactions to whatever is in the jewellery that she's plated with rhodium and gold plating. So once again, another failed product launch from Jaclyn Hill. Are we surprised? No, we're not. We are really not surprised, Jaclyn.
I'm still getting so many comments and questions about Jaclyn's journey and exactly what that looks like and what's going on. Did I quit? Am I not doing it anymore? So I thought that I would just make a dedicated YouTube video about just that. So I'm going to talk to you guys for a little bit, and then I'm going to, if you want to fast forward, I'm going to show you guys what I have been eating in a day, my favorite snacks, all sorts of things, like a very casual Jack snacks almost, if you will, because that's another thing that's super requested, is like yummy, quick, easy snacks that I have been eating, because I know that that's something that we all struggle with when you're trying to stay healthy. It's like, it's just so much easier just to like, stop at McDonald's than to actually eat like a healthy snack. But I have found a lot of good ones. The number one question I've been getting is, am I quitting this whole Jaclyn's Journey series on my channel? And the answer is absolutely hell no. I am not quitting, but I am taking a quick little break. That we have gotten into a bad headspace. And I know the reason why is because I used to be very consistent about therapy, and I completely stopped. The second that COVID hit and pandemic hit the States, I just literally was like, all right, no more therapy for me, because like I didn't feel safe going there. And I was like, I don't know, like what if someone there was before me like was sick, it was like this whole like so I just stopped and I never picked it back up, and that's my bad. And now it's been like almost 2 years, like February of last year, it's been almost 2 years since I've gone to therapy. So I started going back to therapy. I actually started a therapy called neurotherapy, also known as neurofeedback. And if you guys don't know what that is, you can Google it. I have done it in the past, and it is incredible. It's like results that I've had in the past are absolutely life-changing and insane. Like I went from being so agoraphobic, like unable to even leave the house for 3 months, to just like fully being able to live my best life.
Okay, so I'm just going to sit here and continue painting my face while we get into this. If you guys don't know what this is the tried and true Jaclyn Hill method of what to do when shit hits the fan. This is Jaclyn Hill laying on the emotional manipulation really thick to try and make you, her lovely audience, feel extremely sorry for her, because she's having such a hard time and she's going through it oh so much with her mental health. Isn't that funny? Just as she's getting a lot of backlash about Jaclyn Roxanne, here comes Jaclyn with a video all about her mental health and how much she's really not okay and she's really going through it. Girl, please. We have seen this time and time again from Jaclyn Hill. When her hairy lipsticks failed, what did Jaclyn do? Oh, Jaclyn ran off. Oh, this is all really taking a toll on my mental health. Oh, I'm in a really bad headspace. I'm in a dark place. It's that good old influencer classic. I'm in a dark place, so I'm gonna take a break from social media. Girl, please. This is all so transparent now with Jaclyn Hill. We all know this is the game that Jaclyn Hill plays. This is exactly what Jaclyn Hill does every time things go wrong with one of her launches and she starts to get a little bit of criticism and a little bit of feedback from people regarding that launch, this is exactly what she does. This is her go-to. Oh look, let me jump off social media real quick, and before I go, I'm gonna really lay it on thick and try and make everybody feel so sorry for me, because if I do that, then people won't criticize me. Gotcha. So this is Jaclyn Hill doing what Jaclyn Hill does best, playing the victim and emotionally manipulating her fans. You know, oh, I'm going through it so much, I'm having such a hard time, I really need to go to therapy, blah 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 blah. So she's out here trying to blame COVID for the fact that she hasn't been to therapy, all of this. Okay, you know, I never really want to shame anyone for going to therapy or admitting that they need to go to therapy, but in the case of Jaclyn Hill, I'm more than happy to do that, because Jaclyn Hill deserves to be shamed for it at this point. Jaclyn Hill does this every time something goes wrong with one of her brands. It's a tried and true method for Jaclyn Hill. Oh look, the shit's hitting the fan, I better disappear. You know, it's very that, and it's all very transparent. But this YouTube video that Jaclyn uploaded today, this afternoon, or this evening for me, wasn't actually the thing that got my goat with Jaclyn Hill emotionally manipulating people and laying it on thick about mental health. It was actually the Instagram story that she posted before this yesterday. Now, Jaclyn put up something saying, oh, you know, I'm going through it with my mental health and I wouldn't be here. I would have ended my life. Yes, she said that. I would have ended my life without my family. So, we're weaponizing suicide now, are we, Jaclyn Hill? You know what I mean? Tell me this post doesn't read like she's weaponizing suicide. It really does. It really does. And I hate this kind of thing. And I'm going to get into why I hate this kind of thing, especially at this time of year, you know, where we are now, December, right before Christmas. I hate to see this from influencers like Jaclyn Hill, who are filthy rich at this time of year, because she's not really going through it like normal people are. And to weaponize suicide, to me, that is something that's very serious. Extremely serious. You know, that is not something that you should be on social media weaponizing. And that's something that I've called other people out before. So Jaclyn Hill is not going to be an exception to this rule. So you might ask, why am I so pissed that Jaclyn Hill has chosen now to weaponize suicide? Well, of course, Christmas being the kind of loneliest season, being the time when a lot of people who do choose to commit suicide take their own lives. Christmas is that time, December, it is that time when a lot of people who are very unhappy or can't see any kind of way out do choose to take their lives. And not only that, you know, this is something that I've kind of got a bit of personal experience of. So I'm going to get personal with you guys now, and I hope you don't mind. And I wouldn't normally be doing this, but I'm going to get personal now, because this is why I don't like to see influencers weaponizing suicide in the way that Jaclyn Hill did yesterday. A few years ago, 2 days before Christmas, we actually lost somebody in our family, and it was suicide. So there's no, you know, nice way to say it. There's no way to sugarcoat it. It was suicide. It was on the 23rd of December. He was a young man. He was 30 years old. He had a daughter who was just 3 years old, and tragically he left her behind, of course. He took his own life because of drugs, H. So he was found laying on the floor with a needle in his arm by his mother. He was found 2 days before Christmas. Unless your family has been through something like that, then maybe you don't know what it is. Maybe you don't know what it means to be weaponizing suicide, using it to gaslight your audience like that. Maybe you don't see how wrong that is. But to me, it shows me who Jaclyn Hill is to do that. The fact that she would come on social media and weaponize suicide to distract from the fact that she's had a bad product launch. Gross. Absolutely gross. And while we're here, like, talking about drugs and all of that, you know, I am no stranger to this topic. You know, I've had my own battle with drugs and alcohol as well. And I don't mind talking about it because, you know, I'm here, I'm alive. I can talk about it, you know, and I'm going to. So, let's get into it. Well, me, I was somebody who really kind of lost my way when I was a lot younger. And I spent years of my life with illegal drugs, using illegal drugs. Now, the drugs that I was using at the time were things like ketamine, speed, ecstasy that was laced with H as well. I went down a very, very dark path, and I ended up getting to the point where I myself was using H. I was in a squat, to put it bluntly. You know, I was in a squat with other people, other addicts, an addict myself, and it wasn't a nice life. It really, really wasn't. Genuinely, it was a horrible life. I lived for drugs. That was it. I spent years of my life battling with illegal drugs, and it was during that time that we lost the family member that I just told you about. And that was one thing that kind of shook me. But for me, the only reason that I actually stopped taking drugs was because I had got to a point where, as I said, I was living in a squat. I'd, you know, packed stuff, and I'd basically left this house, and I was in really, really deep with the drugs, and I couldn't see a way out. And I was at a point in my life where, because of that, I genuinely felt like I wanted to end it, you know. And I just didn't ever think that my life would ever get better. Really didn't. But it got to the stage where I'd been gone for so long that I was reported missing. I was then picked up at a train station by police and ended up back here, thankfully. And when I got back here, I had to call the police. I had to tell them that I was safe. But I was sick, obviously, because of the drugs. And my personal story with coming off drugs might be different to a lot of other people's stories. Because for me, there wasn't any rehab. There wasn't any Narcotics Anonymous or anything like that. It was just purely cold turkey. So I went cold turkey off of the drugs, and it was just the most insane few months of my life, you know. Firstly, when I first came off drugs, I was sick, vomiting all the time. I was sick. But then, you know, I got a job and I got back out into society. Sorry, it's a little bit difficult to talk about. It's like, you know. But I got a job, I got back out into society, but I was still drinking. Now, the drinking is something that I started, again, underage, and I used to do really weird things. Like, I would have bottles of vodka like this size hidden in my, like, what do you call it, bedside table, hidden in my cupboard in the bedside table. And like, my mum would find these and she'd be like, why have you got this hidden in here? and I would lie and say that I was hiding it for a friend or something like that, you know, whatever, to try and get out of it. But if you go back in my family, like my granddad was an alcoholic, and he was abusive because of the fact that he was an alcoholic. The alcohol made him an abusive man. And, you know, having a family history of addiction, it's clearly affected me. And then, you know, I've also become an addict, and then now gone cold turkey. I've been off drugs now for, God, how old was I? When I stopped using illegal drugs and went cold turkey, I was 21. You know, and like I say, there was no rehab, there was no, like, Narcotics Anonymous meetings or anything like that for me. For me personally, that just wasn't the right path, you know. Obviously, if you're somebody who's struggling with addiction or with drugs yourself, you have to be the one to decide what is right for you in terms of getting help to get off drugs. You have to be the one to decide if you're going to go to meetings or if you're going to go to rehab or whatnot. You know, nobody else can make that decision for you. You have to be the one to decide that for yourself. But in my case, that wasn't my journey. You know, it wasn't Narcotics Anonymous, it wasn't rehab. It was just cold turkey. I was basically locked in the house for the first couple of weeks when I was coming off drugs. Yeah, fun times. Now, the alcohol. I stopped drinking alcohol on July 17th, 2020. So that was the last day that I actually had an alcoholic beverage. So I've been sober for over a year now. And I can tell you, like, the change that it's made to my life is incredible. Like, genuinely. The change in me since I've stopped drinking alcohol, all those substances, like, whatever. Amazing. Really amazing. Like, it's definitely been life-changing for me, stopping alcohol. And in stopping alcohol, I did actually go to meetings. I went to a few, and I decided that that wasn't for me, because for me, going to those meetings made me feel like an addict. And I didn't personally like that. For me, again, you know, if you're somebody who's struggling with alcoholism, then, like, you have to be the one to decide what is right for you. You know, it's not a one-size-fits-all thing. Recovering from addiction is never going to be a one-size-fits-all thing. You know, yes, there are people who believe in a 12-step program and everything, you know. No shade to anybody, you know. It's personal. You've got to decide exactly what is right for you in your journey, you know. And for me, I tried the meetings and it just wasn't for me. I found that it did make me just feel depressed, and, you know, sitting in that room, it just made me feel depressed and down on myself and like I was a failure. But I've managed on my own, without meetings, without anything like that. I've managed. You know, again, you know, everybody, anyone out there who's struggling, please do what's right for you. You know, I'm not here to give anybody else advice on how to cope with addiction, you know, but I can only talk about my personal experience of it. You know, my personal experience, how I've coped. I've not gone to meetings, you know, since the few that I went to, because I just didn't find that I needed it. I found that I was better getting back to, like, normal life as best I could, you know, in the pandemic and everything. But I found that I was better getting back to normal life, you know, going to work or, you know, looking for work or whatever. I found that I was better off focusing on the future and what I was going to do now, you know, getting a job and all of that, rather than thinking and being in this mindset of, oh God, I still need help for this, I'm still an addict. Rather than being in that mindset, I preferred to be, okay, well, you're not drinking anymore. Here's where you are now. Where do you go from here? Well, okay, we're trying to get a job. We get a job, you know, and now I've got a job. So I'm like, you know, I'm back to me, who I was before being on any substances or drinking or anything. and it's priceless. It is priceless to be clear-headed and to not have to be relying on anything, to not have to be drinking to get drunk, you know, to not have to be getting out of my head to try and cope with life is amazing. And I feel like Christmas, December is always a very difficult time for people who do struggle with addiction, because of course Christmas is the time when everybody's drinking, everybody's partying, all that stuff, you know. So I do feel that it's, you know, important to speak about this now, because I know that there are going to be other people out there struggling, you know. But I just want to say, stay strong. You can do it. And if you're somebody who is battling with substance abuse or alcoholism right now, in this moment, I promise you, you can get sober. You can get clean. You can do it. You know, there is hope and there is light at the end of the tunnel. You just got to keep going. Just persevere. You know, it sounds corny, but that's all I can say. You know, me being me, going cold turkey the way that I did, you know, that won't work for everybody, but it worked for me. You do whatever is going to help you, whether that's going to meetings, whether that's cutting off old friends, you know, whether that's, you know, looking to your family for support. Whatever it is, you do what you need to do to help yourself, because trust me, it's so worth it. Anyway, I'm going to stop this video. I'm sorry it's been a bit long and a bit rambly, but I hope you get the point. I hope you get what I'm trying to say. That weaponizing suicide is really not good, especially at this time of year. And for anyone struggling with addiction, you're not a fuck up. It's a disease. You're not a fuck up. You know, it is a disease. It's got a hold of you now, but I promise you, you can beat it. Love you guys. Take care. Stay safe, stay well. And that is why I always say this at the end of my videos. Look after yourselves. I love you, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.